What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is yet another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody had an awesome week. I had an awesome week, but as usual, same joke applies. Went to sleep on Monday, and I woke up. It was Friday. Well, Saturday now because it's Saturday, but whatever. The week just flew by. Um, yeah, like as I said, got a special day. I usually air on Fridays, but this is a special circumstance, and so we're gonna do how we do. Okay. Um, Start off. We have another awesome, great guest. She's a entrepreneur. She's a boss. She's a all around hustler. She does what she does. You know what? It sounds funny even saying that word hustler because usually when you talk about a hustler, it's like somebody trying to trick you into doing something. So I
Right.
think I'm gonna cut down on saying that. But she's an all around boss. This is Miss Danielle Sherrie Harold. I hope that I said that right.
Yeah.
Um, and for those of you who may not be familiar with her movement, I'm going to give her a couple of moments to just kind of reintroduce herself and give a little background to everything that she has going on. So, with that being said, it's on you.
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. I'm Danielle. Um, Family calls me Danny. I'm originally from the DMV area. I am a business owner and a makeup artist. My business is DH Beauty LLC, where currently, right now, I just focus strictly on doing makeup for whomever, wherever, or whatever. Pretty much. I am a mom of four, a wife to a football coach, and yeah, I love all things beauty and fashion and all that good stuff.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning. How did you get into the whole the whole cosmetic and beauty industry?
So, from like the age of 5, I was always into music. I started playing the piano at the age of 5. When I got to high school, well, no, more like middle school, I started leaning more towards vocal than piano. And so when I got to high school, my good friend at the time called her my sister. I was never like really into makeup. Like I did like the eyeliner and all of that stuff, but like the foundation and all that stuff, I never did. And so I remember one time we were doing a performance and she was like, Danny, you have to put foundation on because we're going to be on stage and the lights are going to wash you out. And so ever since then, it's been like an interest in it. And so when I got to college, I went to Morgan State and I was a part of what they called singers, which was basically the smaller choir out of the bigger choir. And we had to, the way our choir director, Dr. Nathan Carter, was, you were not going on stage without no makeup and no heels on and no pearls. So your face had to be beat. And so I realized within doing mine, and then other people would ask me to do theirs, that I actually found a love for it. And so I was like, I guess I can make a business out of this a little bit. And so when I finally moved to the state of Georgia, there was an event going on where it had women who were either in stage 1 or stage 2 of cancer, or they were survivors of breast cancer, and they were doing a fashion show. And someone had asked me if I would volunteer my services for the fashion show. And I was like, yeah, of course. And so it was one lady that just blessed me tremendously. And it made me realize that doing makeup was more than just a surface thing. It can really change somebody's mood. It can really make their day. It can, honestly, because you're having conversations with the person while you're doing it, you never know exactly how you're going to minister to that person or how you're going to encourage them through that. And so my biggest thing is, I always tell my clients, you encourage me more than I encourage you. Honestly, like I always get something out of it. So yeah, that's basically how all of that started, music. So yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So I was I was looking at your website,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking at the bio or the about section, and you use the term um, flawed perfection.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So to me, flawed perfection is, and I really take it more so from, so I'm a big faith-based person, just disclaimer, that's how I rock. And so we're all flawed in some way. None of us are perfect. And so a lot of times we feel as though makeup can cover an imperfection, which in actuality it can, but I don't like to look at it as I'm correcting anything on you, because how you are is how God made you and you're beautiful in his image. That's another reason why I use the scripture, Psalms 50:2, because it talks about your beauty being from God. So God can't make mistakes, he doesn't make mistakes, and so you're perfect the way that he made you. And so, but in us being human, we have our flaws, we have our imperfections. And so, that's where the whole flawed beauty comes from. Because this outward, yeah, is beautiful. We'll get the likes, we'll get the comments and stuff. But in actuality, behind that, we got a little bit of stuff with us. But that's what makes it, to me, that's what makes it, if I had to use the word perfect, that's what makes it perfect to me.
Wow. Okay. What does being a makeup artist and you're dealing in the beauty industry? I'm sure you've seen pretty much everything that there is to see at this point. What would you say is the most common mistake that you see from both ends, from the the person applying the cosmetics
Mm-hmm.
and the person who's receiving the service? What from each standpoint, like what's the most common mistake that, for instance, somebody that's getting wanting to be made up, what's the most common mistake that they make?
So to me, the most common mistake is going in thinking that you can have a picture and you're going to look exactly like that picture that you're presenting. Um, and it's crazy because you get it all the time, and it's not saying that the person that's doing the service isn't skilled to do the eye look or to do the skin the way that you see it. It's not saying that. However, you bring me a picture of Beyonce and you don't have Beyonce facial features, it's not
Right,
going to look like Beyonce. If
right.
you send me a picture of Naomi Campbell, you don't have Naomi Campbell features, it's not going to look like that. So sometimes we go in there expecting
Mhm.
certain results and we don't have those features. So mm, you will want something similar, but you don't necessarily want to be like, oh, you want to walk out feeling like you're Beyonce or you're Naomi Campbell or something, but you're not necessarily going to look like that. I think that's one of like the common mistakes. Another thing I'll say is, um, people fail to realize what full glam is and what simple glam is. And so, and I'll get this a lot, honestly. People are like, oh, I don't want a lot of makeup. And they'll bring me a picture. And I use her as an example now because it's kind of like been a thing. When Jordan, I can't remember her last name, but when she was on Red Table Talk with Jada Pickett after the whole scandal happened between her and the Kardashians, and they
Jordan
were,
Woods,
oh
right.
my God, yeah. And so they was like, oh my God, her makeup is so natural, it's flawless, and yada yada. And I had to laugh because I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful. But you do realize she has on more makeup than the person that you think is wearing a full face of makeup. Like it takes a lot more
Mhm.
for skin to look like skin on camera than it is, so I think the lack of knowledge, I would say, is the biggest common mistake from a person receiving. A person giving I would say, because everybody's skill set is different, I would think the biggest common mistake is saying that you are capable of doing something when it's not realistic. Um, I'm a big person on honesty when it comes to my clients, and you bring me something, I'm going to tell you, hey, boo, yeah, we could do the eye look, but if your skin texture is something different from a picture, no, we're not going to achieve that. So I'm going to let you know this may be here, or we may not be able to do this, because my thing is, I want your skin to still look like your skin. We can take the makeup off and not have to, so I think a lot of times artists or people who claim to be artists um, look more for the financial side of everything instead of the quality. Um, I don't I don't chase finances. Like I said, I'm big on faith. So, if you back away because I tell you I can't provide something for you because I'm looking out for you, then that's fine. But I'm not going to chase a face or chase a person because I feel as though, and I think that's one of the biggest things, especially in this time, because it's so saturated. And so you feel as though, oh, well, I have to lower my price in order to get this person in my seat. And that's not the case. I remember hearing from a professional, a professional makeup artist who does like a lot of celebrities. And she was like, the goal is to work smart, not harder. So if I do 3 faces at $500 a face, I made my goal. But I'm not going to sit up here and charge $25 a face and then have 50 people and then be tired and don't have time for my family at the end of the day. So I think, and it goes into that hustle or that that grind that we like to do. But the goal is to work smarter, especially when you have other responsibilities outside of this. You don't want to drown yourself out so much to the point where it's just like you don't have time to do anything else. So I would say that's one of the biggest common things is from the artist standpoint of doing things. It's just really not really knowing your why in it. Once you have your why as to why you want to do it, it'll be easier to be like, okay, I can I know why I'm doing this, so I won't be doing too much of it or overworking myself in it.
The reason why I kind of I asked you that was because like last week I was in the barbershop with my son,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of people in there because it was Easter and everybody trying to get their stuff done. So needless to say, we were in there for a good while. And so in the barbershop you're talking and whatever, and the barber brought up an interesting point. He was saying how some women wear so much makeup that they don't look like women anymore. Like they look like they're and I'm trying to be what I'm saying?
No, like yeah.
They're trying to it's almost like they don't look like women. They look like they're trying to be women. You know what I'm saying?
Got
And I
you.
and that was just really interesting. So with that being said, that leads me into my next question.
Mm-hmm.
How much influence do I have on what you do? And what I mean by when I say
A man.
I mean men. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Because do you pay attention to that type of thing? Is that something that you hear, or pay attention to, like how guys see, from the guy's point of view?
So you hear it a lot. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of times, well, I'll say this. Prior to us getting into the age of social media, where everybody has an opinion, where you hear and see
Right.
everybody's opinion.
Mhm.
Um, I I think that, back in the 90s, early 2000s, and maybe even before that, I think the basis of a woman wearing makeup was to attract a man, or was to, and when I say that more so of what was seen. and what was portrayed. Because let's be honest, a lot of things that women did, whether we did it for ourselves or not, it was never portrayed as, okay, this is something that she wants to do. It's always a woman wanting to do something for somebody else as opposed to doing it for themselves. Now you have, I think you have a mixture of it, where a lot of women, because times have shifted and even households have shifted to where women have to be more independent. They have to be the head of the household. They have to do, you know, certain things. And whether that's the lack of the man being home or whether that's just her makeup, you know, it's like, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because this is what, you know, I want to do. I would say, as far as doing it for a man, I think that's for someone personally. Like me in particular, I do makeup for me. Now, like when I go out with my husband is not the type of person where he likes a whole lot of it. So because I know that, I married my husband, so his opinion matters to me. Like I'm not one of them ones that's like, oh, no, that's not how we operate in our house. Like my husband's word matters in our home. So because I know that it may be certain things that I won't do with my makeup when we go out, but even if I did, it wouldn't be like something where it'd be a fight or anything like that, if that makes sense. But I think depending on the actual relationship, depending on the woman in herself. I don't ever think a woman should do it for someone else, because the moment you do that, you lose you. And
well, I'm saying, not to cut you off, but more so, not necessarily from a personal standpoint, but from a business standpoint. Like when you, like, do you listen to comments from men? Like, you know, like I said, like I used the barber for example. Like there's some women, you know, they use too much foundation or too much. I don't know the terms, but I'm just saying, like, you know.
I would say to a certain extent.
Okay.
And the only reason why I say to a certain extent is because it would really depend on what the situation is. So like for me, this is more than just, it's not just a hobby for me. Like it's actually a business. Like even now with influencing and things like that, like this is how, you know, my money comes into my household from my part. So I will get comments on TikTok a lot from men who will say, oh, that's too much. I liked you better before you had the makeup on. And that's fine. That's your opinion. However, this is what I do. You see what I'm saying? So, but if it was on a base of, and I think that's why it goes back to being personal, because again, everybody has an opinion. And so I think when we get into valuing someone else's opinion more than what you like to do, or if you have that opinion shape what you do, and especially if it's not, it's one, let me say this, it's one thing if it's constructive, you know, like, because I'll agree with what the barber said to an extent, like it is, and I think it's just because some women just don't know how to properly apply it. Like you'll have people out here looking like they're casket ready, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, type thing. So you have some people who don't know how to properly do things. And so it does look crazy. It does look like you have on too much. It does look like, why am I able to tell your face from your neck, you know, type thing. Right. So, you know, I get it, you know, from that standpoint, I promise you I do, you know, you see it all the time. However, I think the difference comes in, you know, when it's a constructive criticism or if it's a constructive type thing coming from a man, like, oh, hey, you know, because it's a way that you can say it and it's a way that you can do it where it doesn't become offensive. Right. And I think that's kind of where we lose the mark in it a little bit. But yeah, it's a way that you can do it to be constructive. It's another way to do it to make it seem like, oh, if you change or if you don't do this way or because this look like this, you will never get a man type.
Right.
situation.
Right.
And I think that's where, even in this day and age, because of the way social media is, and because of the way, when we do recordings and different things like that, people like to take certain sound bites and just make it, that. And when we miss the totality of it. But yeah, it's a way to do it, but I wouldn't necessarily say all the way that a man's opinion is not valid. Me personally, I wouldn't say that. I don't think that it's something that'll make or break someone,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, I'm just more so speaking like in like general practice,
yeah.
like if I was just a guy that knew you did the cosmetic, and came to you and was like, Miss Danielle or Miss Danny or whatever my relationship with you. Um, what I've noticed XYZ, you know what I'm saying? And I I don't I don't like when women wear this, or when they wear too much of that,
Mhm.
or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Does that play a part in how you go about, just your daily business of dealing with women? Do you keep that in mind? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I keep it in mind for weddings.
mhm,
I keep it in mind for weddings, and this is the reason why. She's marrying someone who has a valid opinion in her life.
mhm,
So I'm not, I want this to be, I don't want you to walk down the aisle looking like somebody totally different. And he look at you
right.
and you see what I'm saying?
Don't
So
recognize you, right.
yeah, so that's when it's that's when it makes sense. And even in a general conversation, I'm not gonna say that it doesn't make you think, about
Mhm,
it.
mhm,
But I would say it'll really depend on what what the situation is, what client I'm working on. Like if you were to say that to me, like say, me and you talking, we just saying, and you let me know, hey, I like it when, I see this on a woman, or when I don't, whatever the situation is. And
right.
then I have a client come in and she expresses the same thing. Of course, that would ding off in my head. And I'll be like,
Mhm,
okay, I know how I'm gonna approach
mhm. Okay.
this situation.
Right.
Because even within that conversation, it's not like you're coming off ill will. You're just
Right.
stating your preference. And
Exactly.
there's
Right.
nothing wrong with having a
Right.
preference. And I think that's too somewhere where we've lost it here, just in society. It's
Mhm.
okay to have a preference. It's nothing wrong with that. Everybody likes something, everybody dislikes something. So, but I think that's one of the things that makes the world beautiful, because if all of us was the same, Jesus Christ, I don't
Right. Right.
I don't think
Right.
we'd be able to get anything done.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Um, and that's actually a nice segue into what I was gonna touch on next.
Mhm.
Um, Mental health. I mean, I think you kind of touched on it in the very very beginning when you were kind of giving your background,
Mhm.
when you said you look better, you feel better, and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, what are your feelings towards the connection between you know the beauty industry and mental health? Is there, if there is even a connection?
I feel as though that there is. And I'll just speak from a personal standpoint because it's really played a part with me. Um, some people can see my story, like if you scroll through my page a little bit,
Hmm.
but I suffered with depression for a while. And it was more so of a functional depression thing because I didn't even know what was going on
Right.
until, later. And it was like,
Hmm.
oh, so that's what this is.
Hmm.
Um, but I used to be able to use makeup as a mask
Hmm.
because I could hide behind it. Like, if you're not a person who knows me, you wouldn't know how I feel. Like, you
Right.
wouldn't be able to read in my eyes. So let me throw these big old lashes on and some mascara and some foundation and go,
Right. Right.
to mask everything. But then, when I started my sessions and started realizing certain things, I realized that I did use it as a mask. However, it also helped me in my healing process, because the very things, and that's another place where that flawed beauty comes from, because the very things that I didn't like about myself, I learned to love about myself. So I'm not hiding it, I'm just enhancing it. And I think that the stigma of makeup is that, oh, I want to cover, or I'm putting it on because I'm ugly type
Mm,
thing.
mm,
And
yeah.
so as women, we harp on our looks, we harp on our hair. It's a big part of us, like,
Mhm.
it is. And so when something or part of that goes wrong, we don't feel like ourselves. And a lot of times with us Black women, because we just have so much on our shoulders, we don't have time to deal with it. And
Right.
so then when it slaps us in our face, oh, now we don't know how to function, we don't know how to, move. And so going out and getting your nails done, going out and getting your hair done, going out and getting your makeup done, whatever, pedicure, or just having a straight spa day is one of those relaxing moments where you just have that time to yourself. And it'll give you time to, think. One of the things that I love to do while I'm doing my makeup or while I'm doing content, I love playing my gospel music while doing it. It brings a calmness to me. If I'm ever nervous about a content I have to do for a company, or um, even when I'm getting ready to go to a client, just playing a podcast or listening to a sermon, or anything like that. So it's definitely ways that um, makeup can help that. Even like I told you, before, with doing the fashion show for the breast cancer lady. One of the things that she really she blessed me with was, like, she never saw herself as beautiful. And so even the makeup there made her feel beautiful. It wasn't the makeup that did it, it was what was already on the inside. It just enhanced it. And so, just giving someone that moment of joy is something that, makeup can definitely do for a person.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm a guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't deal with makeup at all, really. um, but um, I love fashion. I love, you know, putting things together, colors,
Mhm.
textures, styles, and all that together. And this is always something that interests me. I always have questions, but you don't really know how to really
How to
to really
ask.
ask a woman, without them getting the wrong idea. So it's like, it's, like I said, it's very, this whole dynamic is very, very interesting to me.
Hmm.
Being a person who deals with, actually,
Hmm.
self-esteem issues, feeling, from time to time, feeling good enough, feeling, you know, valuable, that type of thing. Um, I feel like while some might look at what you do as something very surface and very simple, it's
Hmm.
actually, you actually have a lot of power. Like that's a very awesome responsibility to have, to take a blank slate and create something that will not only make the person look um more desirable,
Hmm.
but it also is changing their mode of thought. Like they might have went in feeling kind of low, like whatever, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? But then you turn them around and see their reflection, and they see a totally different person, and they feel worthy, they feel valuable, they feel attractive. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Something as simple as feeling attractive, you know what I mean, goes a super long way. Um, this is probably something I should have asked you in the beginning. Uh, Beauty.
Mm.
What is what's the definition of beauty? And because that's one thing that I, like I said, I find interesting. Like, determines what's beautiful and what's not? Like, what is your definition of beauty?
Hmm. That's a loaded question.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a
Absolutely.
loaded question. Like, to me, I'll say this to start it off. Beauty is definitely nothing surface. It's not my
Mhm.
makeup. It ain't my lashes. It ain't my hair. It ain't none of that
Mhm.
has anything to do with beauty. It has to do with beauty as far as like what the world determines.
Mhm.
But it's true beauty is definitely something that has to come within. And I know
Mhm.
that that's like cliche because everybody says it. However, it's facts because you can throw all the clothes you want to throw on. You can put on as much perfume you want to, makeup, whatever. But if you're ugly on the inside,
Right.
it's not
Right.
going to matter. Um, you come in contact with a lot of people who are everything from head to toe, but have the ugliest attitudes.
Right.
Um, and it literally turns everything off. To me, beauty is being selfless.
Mhm.
Um, and being selfless, not to the point where you you harm yourself and trying to,
Right.
but
Right.
just having that heart and compassion to do for others. Beauty is serving. Um, that's one of the things that my husband and I have been like really, really big on. Like in leadership is serving. And so beauty is serving others. Um, and the blessing is in serving. The beauty is
Mhm.
in serving.
Right.
Beauty is being able to have compassion. Beauty is being able to listen. Beauty is also able to know when you need time for you. Um, yeah, it's just, I think it's one of them. Beauty is just something where you just take away every negative thing and you make it positive.
Right.
Um, there's no, I don't think there can be any ill in beauty. Your motives have to be pure with beauty. Um, yeah. Like taking it away from surface, like that's the only thing I can really think of is that beauty is it's definitely it's selfless. Just being a selfless individuals because the moment you can have compassion and uh be be authentic
Mhm.
into who you are,
Mhm.
um you'll radiate and you shine wherever you'll go.
Is there anything you won't do? Like if somebody comes to you, with a specific, type of request, is there anything that you will not do?
I won't do it if it's going to harm you. And when I say harm you, meaning because there's different skin types. So I'm not going to put something on you that will make you, that'll break you out.
Right.
Um, I'm also big on, like, especially with children, unless it's a pageant or something, I'm just not going to put lashes on a child. Like,
Right.
it's, and it may be old school, but that's just me. I'm not gonna put too much, like I'm not gonna do a whole contour and highlight and have you beaming all the way to Jupiter. Like I'm not gonna do all of that, to a child or to a young person. As far as adults, again, I'm real big on skincare. So I'm not, if I feel as though that there's something that you want that's going to harm you or harm your skin in the long run, I'm gonna suggest it. Like, and that's why I like to do consultations before I take on clients, because if it's something that you want me to do and I tell you I can't do it, then, I can recommend you to somebody else, but 9 times out of 10, the person I recommend you to is probably going to say the same thing I'm going to say. So,
Right.
but that's kind of where I draw the line really with stuff, because at the end of the day, it's my name that's on it. So if anything were to happen, the first thing you would say is, "Oh, Danny of DH Beauty did this to me," and it was just, yeah, no, we're not gonna
Okay. Okay.
do.
That absolutely makes sense. Um, Now this is gonna sound, it may sound weird to you,
Okay.
but okay. Do you feel like the way that you look specifically is a weakness or a strength in terms of when you're doing business with people? Not just people that you're putting the makeup and stuff on, but just like dealings that you have to do with maybe other businesses, other companies, different things of that nature. Like just in business wise for you, do you think that it's a, like I said, is it a hindrance for you,
Mm-hmm.
or is it an asset for you? And let me frame it for you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I mean by that is people can look at you and say, okay, she's beautiful, she's striking, whatever the case may be. She may be so into herself that she may not know her business, for instance. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Or maybe we might be able to get over on her
Mm-hmm.
because she may look like she's more interested in the fashion part. She don't look like
Right.
she on her on point. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? In your experience, have you seen is there a difference? Is that even a thing?
It's a thing. It's a thing. And it's more of a thing I think that people realize. Because they don't. There will always be a stigma. Um, there will always be a stigma with it, because people do, be like, oh yeah, you're beautiful, you're striking, but you don't know X, Y, Z. So maybe I do feel like I can get over on you, or maybe I can ask you something, or maybe I can present you with this contract and you're not going to read over it. And then,
Mhm.
so it's there. It's a given. However, I do believe my pastor always says something where he says, you can't take advantage of me when I'm in my purpose.
Mm.
So because I feel as though this is my purpose, regardless of whatever your motive is, I know what mine is.
Right.
Um, I know that I know my stuff. I know that I know my education. So if you sit down and talk with me, you'll know that I'm more than, and I don't like saying this because to me, I guess just growing up, it makes me feel like I'm being conceited, but I'm not. But I'm more than just a pretty face. I'm more than a makeup. I'm more than a hair. I'm more than the earrings. Like I know I bring value. Um, I will say though, because my husband laughs a lot at me a lot,
Mhm.
because I like to see the good before I get to see the bad. So like I always go in with like big old arms. So that's one place where I have to thank God for my husband for, because not only is he my protector, but he also discerns things for me.
Mhm.
So if there's ever a business deal or something, he's on top of it for me
Mhm.
to the point where, because he knows how I am. I can get overly excited where I can overlook, certain
Mhm.
things. But to answer your question, it depends on the situation. Do I feel like that personally? No, because I feel as though that if I dwell on that, that's going to hinder me in my performance. Um, However, it's a thing. It's a thing,
Mhm.
but I can't allow it to stop me from being me.
Right.
At the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's a good answer. I mean, that's something that, also, I wonder about. Like I have a kind of an unusual thought process. I think about things that probably the average person doesn't really think about. But that's neither here nor there. Whatever.
Got
Um, um, who would you say is your biggest influence professionally?
mm, I have a couple.
Okay.
So, my biggest one right now is her name is Kim. She's from the DMV area, but actually, right before I got married, I was supposed to sit under her
Mhm.
um, as a mentor. But like, I could still reach out to her today and be like, hey, I have a question about this, or what is this? And she'll reach right back out to me. But she's done makeup for Angela Bassett. She's done makeup for Kerry Washington. Like, she's one of the it
Yeah.
makeup artist. So she'll always be top for me. Um, Derek, I can't remember his last name, but he does makeup for Oprah. He's her personal makeup artist, and I absolutely love his work ethic. I love the way that he just goes and presents it. So, one thing about people that I look up to, or I follow, or I try to, model things after, are ones that are quiet, ones
Mhm.
that you're not going to see on social media all the time, because it's not about that for them. Like, they have that old school drive mentality. It's more of word of mouth than how many followers I have, than how many likes on a post, or what this algorithm is doing today. So
Right.
it goes beyond that. It's like their actual love for the art in itself. Sam Fine is another one that's really, really big in the industry. Alexandra. It's a lot of them, but like, I model a lot of, like I said, because their work ethic is unmatched, and it also goes to show you, like, some people will look at it and be like, oh my God, I could never pay that amount. However, what they do, you would pay for
Right.
it.
Right.
It goes beyond more of than what you see people just do on social media. Like, you see them just slap foundation on, a slap a lash on, and you'll think, oh, I'm not going to pay more than XYZ amount. But when you truly sit in somebody's chair, they take their time with you. They're actually truly, in a sense, working
Right.
on you, really.
Right.
And so yeah, so that's, I model those who are my goals, like where I
Yeah.
want to get to. And then the moment I, achieve that goal, I want to be able to give back, just like they do. So,
I heard the singer Tank say one time, there's a difference between a fan and a supporter. You
mhm,
might have like 1,000, if you have 1,000 followers,
mhm,
you may only have you may have 950 fans and 50 followers. And followers, I mean, not followers, but supporters.
quarters. Hmm.
Supporters are the because supporters are the ones that buy the tickets to go to your concert. They buy your your content when it comes out. You know what I'm saying? They comment on your whatever you post on social media and stuff like that.
Hmm.
They are active participants in your career.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's what I thought of when you were saying that,
Mhm.
fans versus supporters. Um, we were gonna talk about family.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
um, what role has family played in what you're doing right now?
Oh, a major role. If you ask anybody who's like in my inner circle, they know that my family comes first. My family isn't gonna fall. Like I'm a big person about order. So if my house ain't in order, I'm not doing nothing else. Like that
Right.
has to be, top priority. But my husband pushes me daily. He prays over me daily. And to me, that's big for me, especially um, dealing with what I have dealt with and continue to deal with mental health.
Hmm.
I need that, you
Right.
know. Um, my children are a drive for me. I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
you can hear a little bit of them now because
Yeah.
they're loud. I have four. There's never a quiet moment in my house.
Right.
But because of their joy, because of their laughter, I have purpose. Like it's bigger than me, and that goes back into what I was saying before. When you find your why in what you're doing, it makes it easier. Like if I'm just chasing a coin, eh,
Hmm.
it's whatever. But these other five people that are attached to me, makes the late lights,
Right.
worth it. But they're encouraging all the time. My daughter, she's always, oh mommy, when you're doing another video? When are you doing? So they're very active in what I do, and I love it. I love
Awesome. Um, we were hoping to have your husband come on
He's
and
sitting right here.
okay, okay.
You want to slide over, sir? That's the husband. You got
Hello.
Can you slide over a little? There you
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
How's it going, sir?
How are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm great. I just had to get your point of view on a few things. Um, with Miss Danielle in the industry that she's in. Um, the outward appearance matters. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the calling card. That's the commercial, so to speak. You know what I mean? And so with that being with that understanding, how does that affect you? Do you feel do you feel like a personal challenge to kind of like be on point at all times because she has to be on point at all times? Do you ever feel, you know what I'm saying? Do you ever feel like, a kind of an unspoken type of thing where you feel like I said, you have to be on a certain level?
No, sir. I'm a former athlete and a football coach,
Hmm.
and so she's what you call Beyonce say an upgrade. She accentuates the deals. When I go to
Right.
recruit kids, when I'm talking to parents, she accentuates the deal. That's how we make that happen. I don't know if she told you how we met, but I went
Yeah.
to my cousin's wedding in DC.
Yes.
Saw her, fell in love, and I remember going through her phone and sending her all her pictures to my phone, and just because I was way in Louisiana in Baton Rouge, and
Okay.
those pictures every day. So I fell in love with the booty. I'm sorry, the beauty. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to edit that. Edit that. Edit that. Edit that.
Too late. It's live, sir.
But I told her
Yes, sir.
in 2009. I proposed in June. We got married in July, and so she wanted to get married like November. I told her, I said, "Man, I'm in football season
Hmm.
starting in July down south down here. I don't know where you are, but it's religious. I say I can't go through football season without a wife. So pretty much we got to get married now. It's not gonna happen. So
Wow.
she's been with
Okay.
me. She's been with me. And I didn't know how the beauty side would even help me or my career. I just fell in love, and
Hmm.
just all of the moves and stuff. So, but what I will say is that you know people are attracted to my wife. That's obvious. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's got a nice body. But me personally, I kind of like that because I'm a big dude. So when I walk in the room, people naturally, look at that big dude. But then to see my wife, they're like, oh, wow. So I'm a teacher. So just the other day, my kids were like, Coach, you ugly, you this, you that. I bet you got an ugly wife and all that, big kids. So I said, my wife is gorgeous. And
Right.
so I showed them my phone. They're like, oh my God, Coach, that's not your wife. So I showed them pictures together. Like, how did you get her? And I tell her, hey, I sell water to a well, fire down the hill. I got a
Wow.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Look,
Yes,
women,
sir. Talk
you
that
don't
talk,
realize
sir.
women
Talk
don't
that
care
talk,
about the
sir.
looks and stuff, man. It's all about this right here.
Talk that talk,
Look,
sir.
you got to
Talk
talk
that
that
talk.
talk, but you
I'm
got to
not even
walk the
mad at
walk.
you.
I told her, I said, man, look, you choose it or you lose it. You know what I'm saying? I
Wow.
say, you rocking with your boy, you gonna stay up there with them losers. So, come
Wow.
down here, down south to be a winner. And she been winning ever since. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a thing I kind of like. I like a challenge. Being an athlete, I like a challenge.
Yeah, that's you know what? That's awesome that you are that secure in yourself. Like a lot of guys would not have um came at it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of guys would have made it seem like, it's she all right, but she with me, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's really dope that you were very
She's a star, dog. She's a star. I'm just trying to hold on. No,
But hold on. On the flip side of that, right? You're in coaching. So you are in essence a leader of men. You wield a lot of power. You have a lot of influence.
yes, sir.
And people are attracted to that too.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I'm saying? Ask your local pastor. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of you carry a lot of influence too.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, Miss Danielle, how do you deal with that?
I pray. It's like, no, but seriously, one of the things I joke with him a lot, but he knows I'm crazy too at the same time. But when I met him, that was one of the things that he did explain to me, like that whole side of coaching. Like my brother, I have one brother, and he was in the sports, but I never really paid attention to how coaching really played a part, especially with single moms. Like I never really like my mom was a single mom. So like I saw the different coaches impart into my brother, help us out, but I never really understood the magnitude of it. And so when you have a spouse or a partner who's in that leadership role, like I joke when I say praying, but I'm dead serious at the same time. Like it's only prayer that keeps me level-headed, because I can look at something and I'll be like, yo, nah, that ain't, what's up? And being from DC, I'll be ready to, go.
Right.
However, at the end of the day, he's in ministry. That's his ministry. And so, as long as he does what God told him to do, I have no, bouts about it. Like he jokes and says that I'm the star. I say he's the star. And I just, I'm behind scenes and working. So we go back and forth with that. But I'm not going to lie and say it was not an adjustment to deal with, in the beginning, because as a wife, you want to be selfish. Like, I don't want to have to share you with nobody else. I don't want to have to, be in a car with you while you have to go, like we supposed to be sitting and having dinner and we got to go do this.
Right.
Mike, I'm going to ask something.
Okay.
Good that you have this conversation. I think another reason that keeps me insecure is she never makes me seem like I'm not the be all end all in the room. You see what I'm saying? And so she's not, to be honest, like she like doing, but she don't like social media. She don't like none of this stuff. Like, And I tell her, I say, God bless you with this because you don't want it. It's the people that don't want it that God gets the spotlight to it. But
Absolutely.
she handles it well when people are saying inappropriate things or stuff. I mean, she blocks them right away. She nips it in the bud, so that helps too. Where, you know, and like I say, I joke with her. I try to make her jealous more than she does me. Like I like to get a reaction. Like I want to know that you're crazy. So I'm like, hey man, you see your boy mom look at me, she like, but you know, but she don't do that to me. And so it really, she really helps me feel like I'm number one.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Because some of these women, you look at the real housewives or this, that, and third, and some of these women, they so aggressive and out there, and you like the dude sitting in the back, like, you know what I'm saying? So she's not like that, man. She's not looking for the camera. She's a real humble, you know, Christ. And I'm not just saying it because we on that. I'll tell anybody, my wife, I got a perfect wife as far as her attitude and servanthood and you know, just a humble spirit.
Okay. First of all, you guys are hilarious. I want to tell you that. You guys are hilarious. I'm going to ask you each the same question. Starting with you, Coach. What does it mean to be married to her? What does it mean to be married to her specifically?
So there's different levels. So there's Danielle, the one I fell in love with, the little girl. And when I say little girl, I don't mean like that. Like when I married her, she was only 23. She just turned 24. And so I told her, she didn't know what I meant, but God showed me. I said, you don't even know who you about to become. Literally. Did I not? I said that, Mike, but I didn't know what I was saying. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, 13 years later, I'm like, Lord, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I said that, but you know what I'm saying? So I'm reflecting, like, wow, that's even bigger than what I said. So, you know, then it's the mother side now. You know, she's a great mother. She's always stressed about, I'm not, you know, because I got to take care of you and the house and make DH Beauty. The kids are lacking, but our kids are doing well. She just stressed so thin that I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't regret anything that she does because she balances well, but she don't think she does. The other side, just that Christian side, just that wanting to be close to Jesus. And so in that aspect, just last week, the pastor prophesied something huge to her that was even bigger than what, you know what I'm saying? And so it was like God is showing her that this platform for you is growing larger and larger. And I'm noticing that she supported me for 13 years to moves to everywhere for different states. And now it's my turn, like I told her, to be her stage so that I can support her so she can grow this business, do what she needs to do to be the next social media mogul and influencer. So, and I'm going to do that. Like I said, you know, now I'm spending more time with the kids so she can do different things and stuff like that. And so, man, marriage is crazy, man. The first 10 years, you know, it was just us and we were just trying to figure it out. Now as we're getting closer and closer, the roles have changed, man. You have to be have a spirit of discernment and be humble enough to, you know, humble yourself for your mate, man. And so that's what makes it's not always pretty. I'm not gonna sit here, y'all see her beautiful right now, but it been some fights, some crying, some it been some ugly days. I'm gonna be transparent, but you know, keep God at the center. We went to a marriage retreat, and I know I'm getting off something to talk to, but we went to a marriage retreat, and it was good that we went because we got married so fast. 3 months we got married. But the one thing they taught us was that take divorce off the table. That was the best advice we had. That's not even an option for us. So whenever we got into it, Mike, you know what I'm saying? We ain't busting up. That ain't even on the table. So let's, you know what I'm saying? So that it helps you no matter what. I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna ride off. I'm gonna take some time for myself. She don't like that, but I'm coming back to the house. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a dad. She didn't have a dad. Our kids gonna have a dad. They gonna have two parents, and we gonna work it out. If I gotta go downstairs, she upstairs for the whole week. we're not gonna bust up. So I'm sorry.
Right. No, no. You know what? That absolutely needed to be said. It absolutely needed to be said because you won't you don't understand. Like there's so many people that that watch this playback and watch this live or whatever, and you don't know whatever it is that they're dealing with or whatever. They might have came on for one reason, but then they end up getting a whole nother download. You know what I'm saying? So if you were led to say that, then it needed to be said. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say this, like I said, people see us, they gonna see her, see this podcast, they see the glory, but they don't know the story, man. And it's still written. So I want you to know this thing been ugly, man. I'm not gonna be, highlighting like we said, like we gotta go. No, it's been ugly, it's been hard, it's been, it's been unfair, but like I said, at the core of it, we're not busting up. I don't care what happens. And that's what kept us together, maintain this family.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. It's on you, Miss Danny.
I would say being married to Coach means being adaptable. He touched on a lot of our moves. And so we have moved a lot. In 13 years of being married, I want to, 8 times?
7, 8 moves.
Wow.
7, 8 moves. And the one thing I would say is it's never been without purpose. We may have thought football was the reason we was moving or a job, but there was always something there for us as a family, whether it was a lesson, whatever lesson it was, we learned it and we knew that our purpose was there. Like one of the biggest moves to this date that just impacted us so much was when we moved to Brunswick, Georgia. And moving there, I think because we were so bright-eyed, it was our second job. And so our first job was at a smaller county. And so in smaller county, well, first of all, just in Georgia, Southern hospitality is, everything. So everybody gonna say hi to you. They want to fix you a meal, everything like that. So we were in a really, really small county, literally like really, really small. So everything was so family oriented and, oh, we love y'all. We want to do this, yada, yada, yada. And so going to this new school, we're bright-eyed. And we're like, oh, this is going to be the same way. And it was the total opposite. But the one thing we found there was our church home. We found our pastor. We found another family. It was just so much there, but it also increased our faith. Right before we moved, he lost his mom. And it did, it just shifted everything. And so another part of adaptability. It's always going to be something, but I have to be able to be adaptable. I'm not going to say I knew the what's the word I'm looking for? I never knew the weight of my responsibility being married to a coach. However, learning it, at the end of the day, all I know is to be adaptable to him. Like he said, divorce is off the table. So I don't care how mad I get at him. I don't care how much I don't like him at the moment or like the situation. I know I'm not going anywhere. I know that, we're going to work it through, whether we both have to kick and scream, through it. We're going to get through it. So, being adaptable, but also finding joy, the small things with him. Because he's a coach, he ain't home a lot, especially during football season. There are late nights. When we were on a college level for 2 years, I'll honestly say him being a head coach prepared me for that. But the late nights, the only time I'm seeing you is when you leaving out the house and when you about to get in the bed, and all I have time to do is say, hey, how you doing? Kiss you, good night, and then we sleep. And then we back in the same, routine. So being purposeful too. and still dating each other, because it's very, very easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle, because he has late nights, and now with me juggling a business and having to adapt to certain hours of doing things, like I may have to wake up early in the morning and create content, before the kids go to school, or have to wait to do it till after dinner, whatever. But just being purposeful and adaptable to make that time for us to still, because us getting married early, we learning each other
Right.
and being married at the same
Right.
time, and that comes with its own challenge. So, just being purposeful and making sure that we don't let that union fall.
Mm.
If I can add something, she said, and I'm glad she said it, because it's all coming full circle. But it's been 7 years since my mom passed, and so we were tight. She'll tell you it was God, then my mom. You know what I'm saying? I think what God showed me was her, then him. And so God literally told me at the altar, I don't know if this is a Christian podcast or what, but he told me that, and God will start revealing stuff to you. If you can make it through that trial or tribulation, he'll start revealing. So 7 years out, I can see we're standing at the altar, and he told me, he said, I had to take her so that y'all can become closer.
Wow.
And it really rocked my world, man. Like
Wow.
it shook me to the core. Like I told the pastor at the church, like he told me that. And so it was tough. It's tough to deal with still to this day, but like my mom was still my rock who I went to.
Absolutely.
And that's out of order biblically. You know what I'm saying? After we get married, it's God, then your wife, mom, and I had it out of whack. And so unfortunately he had to remove her, and so that me and her could grow and become who we were supposed to be. So
Wow. I totally get that. My mom passed last year in July from COVID.
okay.
And man, like, and then to top off everything, she was already in a nursing home dealing with a number of different illnesses or whatever. But with all that going on, she was still my hero. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That was my hero. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it.
You understand that what I do. You understand. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
would honestly say I even used his mom as a crutch too. I laugh with his sisters all the time, but she made my job easy. I didn't have to have the long nights. I didn't have to deal with the crying. I didn't have to deal with the, extensive amount, or even trying to understand his platform or understand what he was dealing with, because he was able to talk to her. So it made my job easy. All I had to do was just cook, or whatever else that comes
Right.
with, being a wife. But that part of being a wife, I didn't have to, so I didn't even really, they talk about becoming one, because you're supposed to be soulmates. Soul means, intertwining. So you're literally supposed to be, one. But I didn't even realize how much I was using her as a crutch. Like I would, have my feelings or a certain day, like, dang, he talking to mom. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, yeah, talk to mom, call her, type situation. So, yeah.
It's even in the word it says that, the husband is supposed to leave his home and cleave unto his wife. And so that is definitely, it's definitely tough when you're used to a certain thing. You go through something, you go to your mom, and it's almost like their shoulders are built for our problems. And so, you know what I'm saying? So we go to them because we feel like they understand us best, because they were literally there from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So they know how we see problems. You know what I'm saying? And they always seem to know what to say. Like I joke with people all the time. I tell people that I pray to God that once the one power that I want when I start having kids is the power to be always be able to, it's the touch, the touch. And what I mean by that is like, have you ever been mad at your mom for something and then she know you mad at her, but she come and put her hand on you, or she just say something so ridiculous that you just can't, all you could do is just start laughing and you're not mad at them. I want, that's the power, that's the superpower that I want. You know, you know, who knows if I have it yet? You have to ask my daughter. I'm not sure, but but yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold you guys too much longer. I just have one or two more questions for you. Okay. Um, I'm gonna ask this in two like, okay, Miss Danny, like personally,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to answer this personally and from a marriage standpoint.
Okay.
This is actually a question that I ask all my guests. What would have to happen in your life? And we're talking personally and marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, separately, but you're gonna ask them separately.
Yeah.
Unless they go together. But go ahead.
Gotcha.
What would have to happen in your life if it has not happened already for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you?
Oh. Both. Just to hear God say, "Well done."
Mm.
Like honestly, the way I'm set up, and it's not like it's not a bragging thing, but like two of my girlfriends was telling me this morning, like how I don't think about me at all. Like I want to make sure everybody else is okay
Right.
before me, and a lot of times that can hurt, you know. But I that's just me. That's how I'm built, and so I don't need a pat on the back from anybody else. I don't need anyone to give me an award. I just want when it's my time to take my last breath and to go up for God to say, "Well done. You were a good wife. You were a good mom. You were a good sister. You were a good, steward over the gifts that I gave you." Like, and so on a personal standpoint, I just want to know that I've been that good person to other people. I did what I was supposed to do. I handled my responsibilities well. As a wife, I want to, make sure that I'm covering him. My success in this marriage is making sure that I'm his covering and that I'm doing it well. He's touched on it. I doubt myself a lot in that area when it comes to my house. And I think a lot of it too, honestly, is a defense mechanism because to be honest, DH Beauty scares the living daylights out of me.
Wow.
Honestly.
Wow.
Because it's different for me. It's not something that I wanted. I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I don't mind doing other people's face, but actually being in front of the camera, doing my own teaching, and that's not something that I wanted to do. And so, honestly, it scares the living daylights out of me. So I will, if I see something at home that's just not right because I know I wasn't in this place at this time, I'll be like, "Oh, I gotta drop this and get
Right.
to this." And it's like, he's picked up on it to the point where he's even more purposeful, like, know and being more encouragement in that area because he knows, that's big for me. Like I mentioned in the beginning, home is my first ministry. And so if home isn't doing right, I don't care about nothing else. So on a marriage standpoint, I just want to, know that I did well by my husband, that, I'm doing well, by my kids. On a personal standpoint, I just personally and in marriage, I just want to hear well done from God at the end of the day.
Okay. Awesome. How about you, Coach? What does success look like for you, professionally and as Miss Danny's husband, as being a Miss Danny's husband?
So I'm gonna hit the couple side first, and
Okay.
being a dad, my whole total focus has changed. My whole prayer, Mike, is that my kids are baptized, Holy Ghost filled, tithe or seed sowers, and that they marry good mates.
Mm,
That's my prayer every morning. That's all I want. I got 3 boys. I got a beautiful girl, but I want them to be saved. I want them. Both. We have a pastor in Atlanta and the one in Brush you told you about. All of their kids are in church, and so then they have kids. Their kids are in church, and so that's big to me. And so we have become new so much. We don't have a church home, but we watch on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? We tithe, we sow, and so those principles are important to me. The next thing I would say is just for DH Beauty to be that multi-million-dollar company that it can be. I know you're gonna reach a lot of people. Y'all need to connect with this woman because she is about to blow up. Like if y'all don't know the pressure it's about to hit. And so that's it, man. And so then being able to have things, material things to provide our kids to be able to hopefully pay for their college or they get scholarship, but to give them money for a house or a car, set them up like we want to set up. You know what I'm saying? Give them a leg up in life that they can build and leave a legacy. So that's them. As long as they do those things that she blow up to us with the beauty, I'm good, Mike. I'm good.
you guys need to do a podcast together.
Oh God.
Why I knew you gonna say that.
I mean, even if it's just like once a month or something, or like maybe like a 3-minute thing you do on Facebook. You guys really, I'm speaking that. I don't know if that's in your mind or whatever, but you guys should. Um, that was my final official question for you guys, but I really want to thank you for taking the time out because I know that you could have been doing a bunch of other different things that I appreciate and I don't take it for granted. Um, if somebody wanted to reach out, like somebody, I asked you earlier, were you related to somebody? One of my friends, shout out to Ebony Capri. She's also a makeup artist and she owns a company called Ideal Glam here
Okay.
here in Virginia. She has her own she's created her own makeup line, eyelashes. She created her own eyelashes or whatever. She was when she saw I was interviewing you, she asked me, some questions about you or whatever. So hopefully maybe you guys can link up and I don't know.
Absolutely.
But I say that to say, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, somebody seeking advice or service or, is interested in, getting into the industry, but they don't know where to start or whatever, how could somebody get in touch with you?
So the best way, honestly, to get in contact with me, I used to say DM me. However, don't do that because like I've noticed that a lot of times I'll tell people because if they reach out to me on Instagram or if they reach out to me on Facebook, I'll be like, just send me a DM. But because I may not be following them, it goes to another inbox.
Okay.
And I don't get the notification for it. So
Okay.
Right. It'll sit there for like weeks, and I'm like, oh my God, I was supposed to, talk to this person right after I got off live. So they can email is the best way to reach me. My email is dhbeauty3 @gmail.com. Honestly, that's the best way to get in contact with me because my emails come straight to my phone. I love sharing information. I love connecting. And I love, if I don't know it, I love to put you in a direction where you can,
Right.
where you can find out because
Mhm.
I'm still learning. So
Can I ask you something, Mike?
Sure.
How did you find out about her?
Actually, a lot of times I'll go on like Instagram mainly, and I'll just look at people's pages, and I'll look at their short bios or whatever, and then if it strikes me, if it hits me, then if they have I mean not an email, but a website or whatever, I'll start researching
Gotcha.
because a lot of people put things under their profiles that they're really like not doing,
Yeah.
right,
or they're really not doing it at a level that that they're trying to portray that they're
right.
doing it at. You know what I'm saying? So what I do is, like I said, I'll look at their profile, and then if they provide a website, I'll go into the website and I'll check it out. And I'm like, okay, this is legit. And if it sounds interesting to me, then I'll reach out to the person. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say that, I feel led because I don't do that for everybody. Trust me, I don't just reach out to any and everybody. So I truly feel if I reached out to you, I truly felt led to do so. And so yeah, that's how I usually do it. I go on mainly Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
because it seems like Instagram is it just works better for me. It's more informative to me. Like I can
Yeah,
get to the person better than I can on Facebook for whatever reason.
yeah.
But yeah, that's how I usually do it. And then sometimes I already know the person and I know that they're what they're doing, and then sometimes it's like that too.
Yeah. But I want to say thank you for the invite.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Again,
Well, I enjoyed it.
absolute. Listen, I think that this is just the beginning. I'm sure that it's going to be more than this. This is just the beginning. Like I tell people all the time, I'm just happy to be a part of your journey. Like maybe down the road when you're doing an interview, you might reference this interview. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So so I just really I really appreciate it, and you too, Coach. I thank you for coming on. I thank you for being so honest and transparent, because I think a lot of people, I needed that, and I think a lot of other people really needed that too. You have a really refreshing perspective, on marriage, and just your position within the marriage, particularly with her being in the industry that she's in.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's really that's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I thank you again for coming on, and I hope to have you guys on again, in the future. I do a lot of panel interviews. I actually did one about 6 months ago, where I had a group of cosmetologists and stylists and different
Oh,
ones,
awesome.
and that's we talked about beauty, and it ended up turning into a dating conversation, like what men like and what women like and stuff like that. But it was fun. It was cool. So um maybe down the road, we could do something like that. I would love to have you guys on. Um, and
Awesome.
again, I truly do appreciate you guys for coming on, and I thank you for taking the time out.
No, no problem at all.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
the
having
invite.
us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys have an awesome night
All right.
and an awesome weekend, and I wish much blessings on everything that you got going on. Um, I heard that you were interviewing defensive coordinators. So
Oh, you
so
told them everything.
Everything already.
so I wish you blessings on that. And DH Beauty, I wish you much blessings on that and everything else that you have,
Yeah.
in the works.
Thank,
I know that you guys will do very, very well.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
All
Appreciate
right.
Great
it.
show.
All right.
Mike.
Yeah, y'all
All
have a
right.
good night.
You too.
All right. So there you have another interview, great interview. We had Miss Danny and Coach Harold on, and we started out talking about beauty, and we ended talking about marriage and unity, and being secure in your position. It's really really dope. Like that really touched me in a lot of ways. Uh, and I thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for checking us out. I know you could have been a billion other places doing a billion other things. And so, like I told them, I'd count it not a small thing that you chose to sit down and see what we're talking about over here and let's take a walk land. Um, and shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. And as I always encourage you guys, if you have, God has given you a vision, if you have a plan, if there's something that's keeping you up at night, that's consuming your thoughts, then take your time to do it. Step out on faith and do it. You have people around you that can help you, that can advise you and counsel you, give you wise counsel. And listen, tomorrow's not promised. There's no guarantees. So, I encourage you and I implore you um, to move forward in whatever endeavor you choose to embark on. Shout out to the Heralds again. Much blessings to everything that they have going on. And these interviews are so inspiring to me. Like I just had so many thoughts running through my mind, as they were speaking. I was so encouraged, by the authentic and genuine love that they show for one another. I mean, you can't fake that. You know what I'm saying? And so, with that being said, I shout out to them. Shout out to them. And again, I thank y'all for coming out. So, with that being said, guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys next time. All right, let's take a